Dr. Amanda Hayes pressed her hand against the reinforced glass of the Nautilus Research Station, 3 miles beneath the Pacific Ocean's surface. The massive holographic display above her head showed the live feed from New York, where humanity's first interstellar diplomatic summit was about to begin. Her heart raced as the Galactic ambassador stepped onto the United Nations stage, his scaled skin reflecting the camera flashes. "Primitive," the ambassador's translator crackled through the feed. "Your world is drowning in its own inefficiency." His upper lip curled as he gestured to the global map behind him. 70% of your surface wasted on these oceans." Amanda's fingers curled into a fist against the glass. Around her, the other scientists of Project Poseidon watched in tense silence. Through the station's transparent walls, bioluminescent sea life cast an ethereal blue glow across their faces. Ambassador Krithak, the UN Secretary-General, replied diplomatically, "We see our oceans as a source of life and innovation." The alien's laugh echoed through the chamber. "Innovation? We crossed 12,000 light years to find you. Your most advanced vessels barely reach your own moon. The Galactic Federation has transformed entire desert worlds into technological paradises, while your species splashes in the shallows." Amanda turned away from the display, her mind racing. "Kevin, pull up the latest quantum hydroprocessing test results," she called to her assistant. The young physicist quickly brought up a new hologram, showing complex patterns of water molecules arranging and rearranging themselves in perfect synchronization. "They don't know," she whispered, more to herself than the others. "They can't even imagine." The test results confirmed what they'd discovered 3 months ago. Water molecules, when properly aligned through their quantum computing matrix, could process information 1,000,000 times faster than traditional computers. The oceans weren't just bodies of water. They were the largest potential computing network in known space. A sharp crack drew everyone's attention back to the main display. The Galactic ambassador had broken a glass of water, letting it spill across the UN's podium. "Your dependence on this substance makes you weak," he declared. "The Federation will help you move beyond such primitive limitations. We offer you the stars through our guidance and superior technology." Dr. Marcus Rodriguez, Amanda's senior research partner, muttered under his breath, "They're here for the water. They just don't know why they should be." Amanda nodded. The Galactians' dismissal of Earth's oceans was more than just cultural arrogance. It was a critical strategic blind spot, one that could either save humanity or start an interstellar war. "Start the final testing phase," she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the decision. "And get me a direct line to the Joint Chiefs." The ambassador just confirmed everything we feared, and everything we hoped for. As her team rushed to work, Amanda watched the alien delegation through the feed. They were so proud of their desert-born empire, so certain of their superiority. They had no idea that every drop of water on Earth was about to become part of the most powerful defense system in the galaxy. The ambassador's words rang in her ears. "Primitive." She allowed herself a small smile as the quantum hydroprocessors hummed to life around her, the ocean itself beginning to pulse with computational power. "We'll show you, primitive," she said, watching as the first neural links between water molecules formed in their test chamber. Above her, a Galactic survey ship passed over the ocean's surface, its sensors missing the revolutionary technology awakening in the depths below. The water would remember. And soon, it would do far more than that. The Joint Chiefs of Staff shifted uncomfortably in their seats as the elevator descended deeper into the Atlantic Ocean. Through the transparent walls, they watched schools of luminescent fish dart past, their bodies creating streaks of blue light in the darkness. Dr. Amanda Hayes stood at the front, her fingers dancing across a tablet as she monitored their descent to the Atlantis Research Complex. 14,000 feet below sea level, she announced, her voice steady despite the pressure warnings flashing across her screen. Welcome to humanity's best-kept secret. Admiral Chen cleared his throat. Dr. Hayes, you pulled us away from a critical diplomatic situation with the Galactics. This had better be worth it. The elevator slowed to a stop, opening into a vast spherical chamber. Massive windows revealed the ocean's abyss, while holographic displays covered nearly every interior surface. But what caught everyone's attention was the central column, a swirling vortex of water that seemed to dance with its own inner light. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda gestured to the column. Meet Poseidon, the world's first quantum hydroprocessor. While our visitors upstairs mock our primitive oceans, we've learned to turn water molecules into living computer processors. She approached the column, pressing her hand against its containment field. The water inside responded, forming complex geometric patterns that pulsed with bioluminescent energy. Each water molecule can be quantum entangled with others, creating processing networks that make traditional supercomputers look like pocket calculators. General Rodriguez leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. In English, Doctor. Amanda smiled. We've taught water to think. More importantly, we've taught it to remember. She gestured to another scientist, who activated a larger display. Every drop of water on Earth is part of a cycle. It evaporates, forms clouds, falls as rain, flows through rivers, and returns to the ocean. We found a way to encode quantum information into these molecules that persists through every stage of that cycle. The room erupted with questions, but Amanda held up her hand. On the screens around them, satellite imagery showed a Galactic survey ship hovering over the Pacific. 3 hours ago, they began what they call a standard resource analysis of our oceans. What they don't realize is that every drop of water they scan is now scanning them back. She brought up another display, showing complex molecular structures. Their ships use a form of plasma drive that requires precise magnetic containment. Our quantum-encoded water molecules can detect and map these magnetic fields, giving us detailed schematics of their technology. The hologram shifted, revealing the inner workings of the alien vessel. Admiral Chen stood up, his expression a mixture of awe and concern. How long have you been developing this? The breakthrough came 6 months ago, Amanda replied, walking through the holographic ship schematic. We were studying how water molecules store and transfer quantum information when we discovered something extraordinary. They don't just store data, they learn from it. The more information we feed into the network, the more sophisticated it becomes. She waved her hand, and the display shifted to show a global map crisscrossed with flowing lines of light. Right now, there are billions of quantum-encoded water molecules circulating through Earth's water cycle. They form a planetary neural network that grows more powerful every day. The Galactics see our oceans as a primitive obstacle to overcome. We've turned them into the most sophisticated computing system in known space. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Finally, General Rodriguez spoke. What's the catch, Doctor? Amanda's expression grew serious. The Galactics are starting to notice anomalies in their scans, water behaving in ways their physics says it shouldn't. We estimate we have less than 48 hours before they realize something's wrong. She turned to face the military leaders. We need to accelerate the final phase of Project Poseidon, because once they understand what we've done, they won't be here to help us anymore. They'll be here to stop us. Above them, through miles of ocean water now alive with quantum intelligence, the Galactic ships continued their survey, blind to the awakening power beneath their feet. The Galactic mining fleet emerged from hyperspace like a swarm of metallic locusts, their ships' angular forms breaking through Earth's cloud cover. On the bridge of their command vessel, Captain Krivak watched the blue planet with undisguised contempt. Begin the extraction, he ordered. Show these primitives how a superior civilization harvests resources. 40,000 feet below the ocean's surface, Dr. Amanda Hayes watched the invasion force through Poseidon's quantum-linked sensors. The massive hydroprocessor chamber hummed with energy as billions of water molecules calculated combat solutions faster than traditional computers could boot up. "They're positioning over the North Atlantic," Kevin reported, his fingers flying across the holographic controls. "Atmospheric processors deploying. They're going to try to vaporize the ocean directly into their holds." Amanda's jaw tightened. Not today. She opened a secure channel to the Joint Chiefs. "Operation Tsunami is a go. All facilities, initiate quantum convergence." Across the globe, hidden underwater bases activated their hydroprocessors. The ocean itself began to stir as trillions of quantum-encoded water molecules responded to a single command structure. Temperature differentials shifted with impossible precision, creating controlled pressure systems that should have taken days to form. The first Galthaxian harvester never saw the rogue wave coming. A wall of water, guided by quantum calculations and driven by precisely manipulated currents, rose from the calm sea and smashed into the alien ship. The vessel's shields, designed to resist energy weapons and kinetic impacts, couldn't compensate for the raw mass of ocean water that wrapped around it like a liquid fist. "Impossible," Captain Krivak hissed as the harvester disappeared beneath the waves. Their weather patterns showed no sign-off. Lightning split the sky, striking his fleet with pinpoint accuracy. Not random bolts, but precisely guided plasma channels, their paths calculated by water molecules in the atmosphere. Each strike targeted the ship's magnetic containment systems, disrupting their carefully balanced plasma drives. Amanda watched through Poseidon's sensors as chaos erupted among the alien fleet. "They still think they're fighting the weather," she said, allowing herself a small smile. "Show them what else water can do." The quantum network shifted focus, manipulating water vapor in the aliens' engine systems. Microscopic droplets, each carrying encoded commands, began to disrupt the magnetic fields containing their plasma drives. Ships began to spin out of control as their propulsion systems failed. "Medical Bay reporting successful molecular analysis," Kevin announced. "The Galthaxians' body chemistry shows severe hydrophobic properties. They're literally afraid of water at a cellular level." "Then let's give them something to really fear," Amanda commanded. "Initiate Protocol Maelstrom." The ocean surface began to rotate, quantum-controlled currents forming a massive whirlpool beneath the alien fleet. Ships that had survived the lightning strikes and rogue waves now found themselves caught in a massive liquid vortex, their anti-gravity systems useless against the precisely calculated forces pulling them down. On the Galthaxian command ship, Captain Krivak watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled by what he had dismissed as a primitive ocean. "This is impossible," he repeated. "Their technology level. They barely have space flight." "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "we're detecting complex data patterns in the water molecules. It's some kind of processing network." Before Krivak could respond, a final massive wave rose up, its surface glittering with bioluminescent algae controlled by quantum signals. It formed into a massive face, Amanda's face, large enough to fill his bridge's viewport. "Consider this a warning," her voice came through their communication system, carried by the same quantum-encoded water molecules that were tearing his fleet apart. "The oceans of Earth are not your resource to harvest. They are our greatest weapon." As the remnants of the Galthaxian fleet retreated in disarray, Amanda turned to her team. "They'll be back," she said quietly, "and next time, they'll know what they're really fighting." Above them, the ocean settled back into apparent calm, billions of quantum-encoded molecules circulating through its depths, waiting for the next battle to begin. The message arrived in a single drop of rain. Dr. Amanda Hayes stood in the middle of Death Valley, California, holding up a small quantum receptor as storm clouds gathered unnaturally in the desert sky. Behind her, a group of military officials and scientists watched skeptically as the first raindrop fell, landing precisely on the device. "Message received," she announced, reading the display. "Our facility in the Mariana Trench confirms successful quantum entanglement across 18,000 miles of ocean currents." General Rodriguez stepped forward, squinting at the darkening sky. "You're telling me that single raindrop just carried a message from the other side of the planet? Project Neptune isn't just about communication," Amanda explained as more rain began to fall. "Every drop of water on Earth is becoming part of a living network. The oceans, the rain, even the morning dew. They're all carrying quantum-encoded data now." Suddenly, their secure tablets erupted with warnings. Above them, 3 Galactic vessels pierced the cloud cover, their hull designs modified since their last defeat. "They're trying to jam all the electromagnetic frequencies," Kevin reported, his fingers dancing across his tablet. "Traditional communications are dead." Amanda smiled. "Good thing we're not using traditional communications." She held up her quantum receptor as more rain fell. The Mariana facility reports the Galactians have launched simultaneous attacks on 7 coastal cities. "They think they've blinded us." Through the rain, they watched as the alien ships began deploying what looked like massive dehumidifiers, technology designed to strip moisture from the air. The Galactians had learned from their last encounter, but not well enough. "They still think this is about the water itself," Amanda said, shaking her head. "They don't understand that every molecule they're collecting is sending us tactical data about their ships." She turned to General Rodriguez. "Permission to demonstrate Project Neptune's full capabilities." The general nodded grimly. "Show them what Earth's water can really do." Amanda raised her hand to the rain. The quantum receptor pulsed, sending a signal through the network of falling drops. Across the globe, in every ocean, lake, river, and cloud, water molecules received and amplified the command. The Galactian ships suddenly found their tactical displays flooding with phantom signals. Every drop of water they collected through their dehumidifiers carried quantum-encoded false data, overwhelming their sensors with contradictory information. "How are they coordinating without communications?" the Galactian commander demanded, watching as his squadron fell into confusion. "Their primitive technology shouldn't be capable of this." The answer came as the storm intensified. The rain began to fall in precise patterns, each drop hitting the ship's hulls in a cascade of microscopic impacts. The patterns weren't random. They were binary code, transmitted through the very water the Galactians were trying to eliminate. "Send the message," Amanda commanded. Every raindrop, every bit of moisture in the air, began transmitting the same signal in perfect synchronization. "You cannot silence the oceans of Earth." The alien ships retreated, their dehumidifiers overloaded with quantum-corrupted data. As the storm cleared, Amanda turned to the assembled officials. "Project Neptune isn't just a communication system," she explained. "It's the next evolution of information technology. While they've been building bigger computers, we've turned every drop of water on Earth into a quantum processor." Kevin's tablet chimed with new data. The Mariana facility reports the Galactians are pulling back globally, but they're calling in something bigger. He looked up, his expression grave. "They're sending for their main fleet." Amanda watched the last raindrops fall, each one carrying tactical data from across the planet. "Good," she said quietly, "because now every ocean, every cloud, every morning dewdrop is our eyes and ears. They thought they could silence Earth by cutting off our communications." She smiled as the quantum receptor pulsed with new data from across the globe. "They just forced us to reveal our greatest advantage." The storm clouds dispersed, but the air remained thick with invisible quantum signals, carried by water molecules that were no longer just part of Earth's water cycle. They were now the neurons of a planetary consciousness, awakening to face the coming war. "We have confirmation," Kevin announced, his voice echoing through the Atlantis command center. "The Galactian main fleet has just appeared at the edge of our solar system. Initial count shows over 300 vessels." Dr. Amanda Hayes stood before the global Aqua Network display, watching as billions of quantum-encoded water molecules tracked the incoming threat. The massive hologram showed Earth's oceans pulsing with data streams, each drop of water now part of humanity's defensive grid. "Time to arrival?" she asked, her eyes fixed on the approaching fleet. 6 hours at their current speed, Kevin replied. They're moving cautiously after what happened to their advance force. Amanda nodded to the team of scientists and military personnel. Then it's time. Initialize the global Aqua network. Across the planet, hidden facilities beneath every major body of water hummed to life. The quantum hydroprocessors fun up to full power, connecting with every molecule of H2O on Earth. Rivers, lakes, oceans, and even the water vapor in the atmosphere became part of a single vast computational network. In the Mariana Trench facility, Dr. Rodriguez watched as the abyssal waters began to glow with bioluminescent markers. Primary node online, he reported through the quantum channel. Deep ocean sensors are tracking subsurface movement across all Pacific sectors. Mediterranean hub activated, came another report through the water-based communications. Coastal defense grid at full power. One by one, each facility reported in. The network grew stronger with each addition. Water molecules sharing data faster than light through quantum entanglement. On the main display, Earth's entire hydrosphere pulsed with intelligent activity. "Show me what they see," Amanda commanded. The hologram shifted, displaying the Galactic fleet's perspective. To their sensors, Earth still appeared as a primitive water world. But beneath that peaceful surface, quintillions of water molecules were analyzing their every move, predicting their strategies through quantum probability calculations. "They're deploying something new," Kevin warned. "Energy signatures unlike anything we've seen before." The lead Galactic ships launched what looked like massive crystalline structures. As they entered Earth's atmosphere, the crystals began absorbing moisture, trying to disrupt the planet's water cycle. Amanda smiled. "They still think this is about the water itself." She turned to her team. "Initiate Protocol Poseidon's Wrath." Every drop of water in Earth's atmosphere instantly began transmitting false data to the crystal absorbers. The Galactic devices, designed to disrupt Earth's water cycle, instead found themselves overwhelmed with quantum-corrupted information. "Their crystals are shattering," Kevin reported with satisfaction. "The quantum feedback is too much for their collection systems." But the Galactians had more surprises. Their fleet split into precise formations, preparing for a coordinated strike on Earth's major bodies of water. They had studied their previous defeats and adapted their tactics. "They're targeting our processor nodes," Amanda realized. "They've figured out we're using the water for something, even if they don't understand exactly what." She straightened her shoulders. "Show them what a truly awakened ocean can do." The Aqua network responded instantly. Across the globe, precisely controlled weather patterns began to form. Hurricanes materialized with impossible speed, their paths calculated by quantum algorithms to intercept the alien ships. Tidal forces shifted, guided by the collective processing power of Earth's entire hydrosphere. Multiple quantum signatures detected in the Galactic fleet, Kevin announced suddenly. They're using our own water against us. The moisture they collected from the atmosphere." Amanda's expression hardened. "They're learning. But so are we." She placed her hand on the control panel, feeling the vibration of the hydroprocessors below. "Initiate full-spectrum quantum resonance. If they want to use our water, let's show them exactly what it can do." The battle for Earth was about to begin in earnest, fought not with traditional weapons, but with the most abundant substance on the planet's surface. And every single drop was now awake, aware, and ready for war. The UES Hydra emerged from the depths of the Pacific Ocean like a leviathan awakening. Itoll, composed of quantum-aligned water molecules, held in perfect crystalline stasis, gleamed in the morning sun. On the bridge, Dr. Amanda Hayes watched as dozens of similar vessels surfaced around the world, humanity's hidden fleet finally revealing itself. "All water fusion drives at full power," Kevin reported from his station. "The harvested ice from Europa gave us enough fuel to launch the entire fleet." Admiral Chen nodded grimly. "Status of the Galactic forces." They've established a blockade in low Earth orbit, Amanda replied, studying the quantum data streams flowing through the ship's liquid crystal displays. Their fleet is arranged in a defensive sphere. They think they've learned from their mistakes. She allowed herself a small smile. They haven't learned enough. The Hydra's water fusion drive hummed to life, converting simple H2O molecules into incredible amounts of energy. Unlike the Galactic's plasma drives, this technology didn't fight against water's natural properties. It enhanced them. All vessels, execute Operation Undertow, Admiral Chen commanded. Show them what Earth's waters can really do. The human fleet rose as one, their water fusion drives leaving trails of quantum-encoded mist in their wake. Each droplet contained tactical data, creating the three-dimensional network of battlefield intelligence that the Galactics couldn't detect, let alone decode. The alien fleet responded immediately, their energy weapons charging. But something was wrong. Their ship's power levels began to fluctuate wildly. The moisture in their coolant systems, Amanda explained to the bridge crew. Remember, they've been collecting our water for study. Now every drop they harvested is part of our network, feeding us tactical data from inside their ships. On the main view screen, they watched as the first Galactic vessel succumbed to the quantum corruption spreading through its systems. The ship's own water reserves, intended for fuel processing, had become a liability. Multiple targets showing signs of drive failure, Kevin announced. Their magnetic containment fields are collapsing. The Hydra led the charge, its crystalline hull absorbing enemy fire, while quantum-controlled water molecules seeped into the alien vessel's vulnerable systems. More ships began to fail as their carefully regulated water supplies turned against them. They're launching their crystal ships again, Admiral Chen warned, trying to drain our vessel's water supplies. Amanda's hands flew across the liquid interface. Exactly what we wanted. Kevin, initiate Protocol Trojan Stream. The crystal ships latched onto the human fleet, beginning their moisture extraction process. But instead of weakening Earth's vessels, they were downloading corrupted quantum data directly into the heart of the Galactic fleet. Their entire command and control network is drowning in false data, Kevin reported with satisfaction. They can't distinguish real threats from phantom signals anymore. The battle descended into chaos. But only for one side. Earth's ships moved with perfect coordination, their quantum network unaffected by the electromagnetic interference saturating space. The Galactic fleet, for all its technological superiority, found itself fighting an enemy they couldn't understand, water itself. Their flagship is making an emergency jump, Admiral Chen announced. They're retreating. But Amanda's expression remained serious. Wait, she ordered, studying the quantum data streams. Something's wrong. The water molecules we tracked inside their ships, they're not just being used for cooling anymore. Her eyes widened. Everyone brace for impact. The Galactic flagship turned, revealing massive crystalline arrays glowing with familiar energy patterns. They had learned more than anyone realized. They weren't just retreating. They were adapting. They've weaponized our own technology, Amanda whispered as the alien vessel prepared to fire. They've turned our water against us. The battle had reached its turning point. Humanity had revealed its greatest weapon, but in doing so, they had taught their enemy how to use it. Now the real war would begin. Not for Earth's water, but for control of the most powerful force in the galaxy. The Galactic prisoner sat in a sphere of quantum-controlled water, every molecule calibrated to maintain perfect surface tension without touching his hydrophobic skin. Dr. Amanda Hayes studied the alien admiral's reactions through the transparent barrier of the interrogation chamber aboard the UES Hydra. Your containment field is impressive, Admiral Krithak admitted, his scaled skin rippling with discomfort. Though I suspect you're monitoring more than just my movements. Every water molecule around you is reading your biological responses, Amanda confirmed. We know your heart rate increased when you mentioned containment. The question is, why does a spacefaring species fear water so much? The Admiral's secondary eyelids flickered. You wouldn't understand. Your species evolved in these oceans. You never experienced the great thirst. Kevin, monitoring the quantum data streams, suddenly straightened. Doctor, the water molecules are detecting a massive spike in stress hormones. Whatever the great thirst is, it traumatized their entire species. Amanda leaned forward. Tell us about your homeworld, Admiral. Tell us what really drove your people to the stars. Krithak's voice grew distant. Galthax Prime was once like your world. Oceans, rivers, rain. Our ancestors built great floating cities, harvested power from the tides. We thought we were masters of water. His claws clenched. We were wrong. The quantum sensors recorded every microscopic reaction as the Admiral continued. The Great Drought came without warning. Our sun's radiation change, accelerating water evaporation beyond anything we could control. In one generation, we watched our oceans vanish, our civilization collapse. Billions died fighting over the last drops of moisture. So you adapted, Amanda realized. You learned to survive without water. We did more than survive. Krithak's voice hardened. We swore never to be vulnerable to water again. Our bodies were genetically modified, our technology redesigned to operate in absolute drought. We became masters of the desert, transforming barren worlds into gardens of stone and metal. The Admiral stood, moving closer to his liquid prison. But we never forgot the betrayal. When we found other worlds with oceans, we saw them as primitive, dangerous, reminders of our past weakness. We stripped them of water not just for resources, but to ensure they could never threaten us as our own oceans once did. Amanda's expression softened with understanding. But you didn't just fear water. You forgot its potential. While you were learning to live without it, we were learning to speak with it, to merge with it at the quantum level. And now we've learned your language, Krithak responded, gesturing to the battle still raging outside the ship. Your water weapons won't save you anymore. The Hydra shuddered as another Galthaxian blast struck its quantum crystalline hull. Through the viewports, they could see enemy ships wielding corrupted versions of Earth's water technology. You're wrong, Amanda said quietly. You've learned to use water as a weapon, but you still don't understand its true power. Your fear blinds you to the greatest force in the universe. Adaptation. She turned to Kevin. Show him the deep-sea footage. The chamber's walls lit up with images from Earth's oceans, vast ecosystems constantly changing, evolving, surviving. Water doesn't just destroy, Admiral. It flows, it changes, it finds new paths. Life itself began in Earth's oceans, and they've never stopped creating new possibilities. Krithak watched the images, his biological readings showing conflicting responses of fear and fascination. You're suggesting we should embrace what destroyed us. I'm suggesting, Amanda replied, dissolving the water sphere around him, that it's time for both our species to learn from the past instead of running from it. You tried to master water by defeating it. We mastered it by becoming one with it. Outside, the battle paused as a new signal spread through the quantum network. Every drop of water in both fleets began resonating with a simple truth. The war wasn't just about technology anymore. It was about healing an ancient wound that had driven an entire civilization into the desert of space. Dr. Amanda Hayes stood before the combined council of Earth and Galthaxian leaders in the underwater chamber of the Atlantis Research Complex. Above them, the ocean's surface rippled with bioluminescent patterns as quantum-encoded water molecules carried messages across the globe. The Terran Water Initiative isn't just about sharing technology, she explained, gesturing to the holographic display showing both fleets now standing down. It's about sharing understanding. Water isn't just a resource, it's the universe's greatest teacher. Admiral Krithak, now serving as the Galthaxian diplomatic representative, stepped forward. His species' traditional hydrophobic barriers had been replaced with quantum-stabilized interfaces, allowing him to move comfortably through Earth's water-rich environment. My people spent generations running from water, he acknowledged. We turned our fear into strength, but also into blindness. We never imagined that our greatest enemy could become our greatest ally. The holographic display shifted, showing the first successful test of the combined human-Galactic water processing facility on Mars. Quantum-controlled ice from the polar caps was being transformed into both computational networks and sustainable water supplies. The same molecular properties that make water perfect for quantum computing also make it perfect for life. Amanda continued. By combining Earth's water mastery with Galactic desert adaptation technology, we're not just sharing resources, we're creating new possibilities for both our species. Kevin's voice came through the quantum network, transmitted through the facility's water systems. First terraforming projections from Venus are coming in. The Galactic atmospheric processors, enhanced with our quantum water controls, are showing a 300% increase in efficiency. The council chamber hummed with excitement as more reports flowed in through the quantum network. Across the solar system, joint human-Galactic projects were transforming barren worlds into habitable ones. Water, once seen as a primitive obstacle, had become the key to unlocking the galaxy's potential. But our greatest achievement isn't technological, Amanda said, her voice carrying through the quantum-enhanced water around them. It's understanding that true strength doesn't come from conquering nature, but from learning to flow with it. She gestured, and the facility's water molecules formed into a stunning display. A replica of Galactic Prime, as it once was, oceans and all. Your homeworld's tragedy doesn't have to define your future. Together, we can use water not just as a tool or a weapon, but as a bridge between worlds. Admiral Krithak watched the image of his lost homeland with new eyes. My ancestors would call this heresy, he said quietly, but they would also call it a miracle. To see water as an ally instead of an enemy, perhaps this is the adaptation our species truly needed. The quantum network pulsed with new data as more worlds joined the initiative. Species that had once feared or dismissed Earth's oceans now sent their scientists to learn from them. The Galactic Federation, built on the conquest of desert worlds, began to transform into a cooperative alliance of water-rich planets. We still have much to learn from each other, Amanda concluded, watching as quantum-controlled water molecules danced through the chamber in complex patterns. The galaxy is full of worlds waiting to be awakened, and every drop of water carries the potential for new discoveries. Above the facility, Earth's oceans continued their eternal cycle, evaporating, raining, flowing, and returning to the sea. But now each molecule was more than just water. It was part of a vast, living network that connected not just a planet, but an entire civilization reaching for the stars. And in the depths of space, on countless worlds that had once been deemed too primitive or too dangerous to matter, the waters began to stir with new possibility. The universe, it seemed, had been waiting for someone to unlock the true potential of its simplest, most abundant molecule. The water warriors had become water teachers, and their lesson was just beginning.